Thank you. Hello, Lindsay Baker, Michigan delegation. I reserve the right to yield the remainder of my time to my summation.
That is your right.
What comes to mind when you think of the essentials to survival? Obviously food, water. But what do you usually think of last, if you even think of it at all? The most essential part to survival, the combination of elements you can't live more than a few minutes without? Air. You would think that we Americans would keep our most important necessity to survival clean and pollutant-free. Unfortunately, this is not the case. A report by the American Lung Association completed in May 2009 showed that 6 out of 10 Americans live in areas where air pollutants are so high they can cause major health problems. These air pollutants are so harmful that sick days, respiratory problems, and hospital visits cost the Los Angeles Basin and the San Joaquin Valley $28 billion a year. And these are just 2 areas in California. Cities in Ohio, Michigan, Alabama, and Pennsylvania also have bad enough air conditions to earn them spots on the American Lung Association's most polluted cities list. So, what do we do to prevent these now higher infant mortality rates, stop unnecessary cancers, and be able to take a breath without jeopardizing your future health? My friends, I propose to you TX Active. TX Active is a photocatalyst created in Italy that can be added to concrete, plaster, and paint and speeds up natural oxidation processes to break up air pollution. In short, TX Active is a smog eater. Test results of TX Active in Milan showed that covering 15% of surfaces with the compound resulted in a reduction of air pollution by 50%. Therefore, I propose that all U.S. highways that run through areas with unsafe air pollution levels be coated with TX Active. Let's improve our air quality and our living quality. It's a concrete idea.
Pray Hart from the Garden Fresh State of New Jersey. Thank you, Sir Chair. Those of you who know me know that I'm a hardcore environmentalist and may be confused as to why I rise in con of this proposal. I applaud the author's intent. Caring for the environment and reducing air pollution are necessary in today's world. However, I argue that TX Active is not the imminent solution to this problem, and I am compelled to point out the flaws I see in this proposal. Esrock Italcementi, the manufacturers of TX Active, state that reoxidizing agents are byproducts of the TX Active naturalization process. These agents chemically are themselves reduced, which means that they have acidic properties. Since water is also a byproduct of the photocatalysis, these acidic compounds would be dissolved in not only the byproduct water, but also the rainwater which is deposited on the treated strip of highway. If this acidic runoff reaches rivers, streams, and lakes, over the long run, expensive limestone treatment must be used. The author will argue that no such effects have yet been seen, but a decade of testing is not long enough to have such significant effects become prevalent. The author will also have you believe that catalysts do not need to be replaced, that they are not consumed in the chemical reactions. However, catalysts are proteins which may become denatured by extreme weather conditions. I would like to remind this assembly that TX Active was tested in Milan, which has a Mediterranean climate, quite different from many major U.S. cities such as Boston. This leads us to believe that there's no guarantee that TX Active will work in our nation's roads. Indeed, according to the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, Italy is only 103rd in per capita pollution emissions, while the U.S. is 10th on that same list. Therefore, the author's statistics that 15% will reach a 50% reduction are not applicable. I'd also like to point out that by presumably eliminating the problem of air pollution, this proposal would not seek to eliminate the problem at its roots, the factories. Since TX Active does not neutralize carbon dioxide or methane, factories without an incentive to stop doing so would continue to spew harmful emissions of many greenhouse gases. To conclude, I have also several reservations about the efficacy of this proposal. TX Active's manufacturers state that ultraviolet light is needed to activate its photocatalytic processes. Therefore, TX Active will be inactive during night and tunnels in many major U.S. cities. Moreover, TX Active is only being put on federal highways and not on state highways and roads which are closer to the pollution being produced. This proposal will not help my state of New Jersey, which has a major industrial problem because the author defines city as a major city, and New Jersey has no cities with a high enough population to be defined under that definition.
Thank you, delegate. Your time has elapsed.
Yakima delegation. Pollution is bad. Pollution is very, very bad. Not only is it aesthetically unpleasing, but in addition to the health effects mentioned by the proposal author, which include several thousand cases of lung cancer, pollution is also responsible for irritation to the eyes, nose, and throat, upper respiratory infections like pneumonia, headaches, nausea, and aggravation of medical conditions such as asthma and emphysema, just to name a few. Now, according to a statement by the National Board Chairman of the American Lung Association, 60% of Americans live in an area where the air is deemed dangerous to breathe. Now, I'm going to elaborate quickly on TX Active in order to clear up a few things. I'm a science geek, so this is when we get excited. What happens is, when light hits TX Active, the photocatalyst, which is essentially a catalyst, consumed very, very, very slowly over time. When light hits this catalyst, it essentially takes pollutants from the air and binds them to the ground, where the condensate speaker stated that they are acidic. However, what the condensate speaker failed to mention is that calcium carbonate is one of the ingredients in TX Active, which is a base which would react with this acid, which is what yields the water. So essentially, it is a neutralization reaction with the harmful gases in the air, and the byproducts are harmless ions in water. So I think that this is a tremendous proposal. And while the content speaker also stated that carbon dioxide is not affected by this proposal, I would also like to mention that chlorofluorocarbons are, which are far, 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 far more detrimental to the environment than carbon dioxide is. Thank you. I would also like to also address a few more things. The weather conditions required to harm TX Active would have to be extremely, extremely, extremely hot, including temperatures over 800 degrees Celsius, and I yield the remainder of my time to the chair.